Because of the explosive popularity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people are more aware than ever of the weirder characters from the comic canon. However, there are a few heroes that will likely remain on the bench no matter how big the MCU gets. Heroes like Moon Knight. Depending on who's writing him, he's either a Batman knockoff or a killer who talks to a moon god, when he's not already busy talking to his multiple personalities. Despite being so strange, Moon Knight still has a cult following, and his fans have clamored for years to see him appear on the silver screen alongside Captain America and the gang. But despite the fan love, it's a pretty safe bet that Marvel won't make a Moon Knight movie. Here's why. Risky religion. When it comes to religion, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has treaded pretty lightly, outside of Captain America's take on having a bunch of Norse gods pop up.
There's only one god, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
But with Moon Knight, it's impossible to separate the man and his religion, such as it is. He draws his powers from the Egyptian moon god Khonshu, so pretty much any version of a superhero story would mean introducing a whole new bunch of gods to the MCU. We already have Asgardians. Go any deeper, and this world gets a whole lot more confusing. So, as the story goes, Moon Knight is the moon god's chosen one, and becomes a vigilante to do Khonshu's bidding, which sometimes actually includes murdering the bad guys. In case you were wondering, none of this would really translate to Marvel Cinematic Universe too well. Unless it's handled perfectly, it's easy for Moon Knight to come across as little more than a murderous, crazy cult member. Think less Daredevil, more Zodiac Killer. That's not gonna sell too many action figures. Redundant. One key area where Marvel has been successful is making its various on-screen characters seem distinct. It takes a mix of great casting and making the right story decisions, and for the most part, Marvel is killing it. Robert Downey Jr. set the bar pretty high with Tony Stark, and they were careful enough with Doctor Strange to make sure he didn't just hit the same rich, white guy hero beats. But when it comes to Moon Knight, he falls into a whole lot of Batman's territory. And in case you haven't noticed, Batman's got a lot of territory. Let's see. Rich guy, a mask-wearing vigilante by night, lives in a mansion built over a cave, is assisted by a faithful butler, and he uses themed weaponry to take out bad guys. Sound familiar? Yes, Moon Knight is obviously more than just that, and has several differences when more closely compared to Batman, but he checks a whole lot of the same boxes as the Dark Knight. For the average movie-going audience, it'd probably be a few boxes too many. Now, while we're on the subject of being like Batman, too gimmicky. Batman uses a whole lot of gear and gimmicks, but imagine if all those batarangs were now, moonarangs? Is it getting cheesy yet? Viewers have had decades to get used to Batman's brand of bat-themed justice, but it might be hard to spring an entire moon gear lineup on them at once. Heroes typically have a signature weapon that makes them stand out. Think Iron Man's armor, or Captain America's shield, but Moon Knight doesn't really have that. One look at the guy in action, and all audiences can really tell is that he's kind of all over the place. Mental health. Mental illness is a delicate subject in general, and it gets even dicier when it comes to superheroes. After all, anyone who puts on spandex and spends their nights punching people must have more than a few screws loose, right?
Oh no, I'm just standing around, you know. No, not! Ah!
However, Moon Knight is established as literally not sane in the comics on multiple occasions. That could be tough to bring to life on the big screen in a respectful way. A major part of Moon Knight's madness is his multiple personalities. The roster ranges from taxi driver Jake Lockley, mercenary Mark Spector, and even other superheroes like Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Captain America. At times, they all interact in Moon Knight's head, which would not be easy to portray in live action. Unfortunately, if moviegoers aren't ready for a super violent religious zealot for a hero, they're definitely not ready for an outright unhinged one. That outfit. Let's be honest, Moon Knight's costume would be one of the toughest to make look cool on the big screen. It's true that most superhero costumes look at least a little goofy in their original comics, but the tried and true ways of fixing that in a movie wouldn't work here. The typical move is to make it leather, and make it darker. For instance, Scarlet Witch's bright red spandex became a maroon jacket and black pants, while Hawkeye's purple getup morphed into a nearly all-black outfit on film. But Moon Knight's costume is white, like all white. If they made it darker, it wouldn't be Moon Knight, and after a few bloody fights, that all-white costume would start to look pretty rough. Realistically, he'd spend most of the movie looking like a super hobo once the action started. Better on TV. It's been rumored for the better part of a decade that a Moon Knight TV show could happen. Though we'd love to see him get a shot at big screen glory, it's obvious the character would be better served on the boob tube. Having an entire season to develop his character, all of them, would allow audiences to digest the complexities of all his different personas. Put simply, it'd take a TV season to provide the breathing room for the villains, the supporting cast, and world building necessary to make Moon Knight work. His character seems tailor-made for Netflix, which already features Marvel anti-heroes tortured by guilt, loss, and trauma. Then, if Moon Knight doesn't end up fitting in with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage at first, he can just keep swapping personalities until he does. Problem solved! Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.